It is 6 a.m. in Jackson, Georgia. It's 12 noon in Berlin. I'm Monita Rajpal.
And I'm Zain Verjee. You're watching CNN, the world's news leader, and this is World One, live from London.
Crime, punishment, and doubt. Even at the 11th hour, Troy Davis insisted he was innocent. Amid an international campaign to have the execution called off, Davis died just after 11 p.m. local time after the highest U.S. court rejected a final bid to delay it. He had been found guilty of killing police officer Mark Maffei in 1989. 3 times before, authorities had set a date for the death sentence to be carried out. The execution in Jackson, Georgia was witnessed by a number of people. Some of them have been describing Davis's final moments.
He was defiant until the very end, and maintaining his innocence until the very end. He spoke quickly. He looked at one of his attorneys who was sitting on the second row.
The execution of Troy Davis has reignited the debate over capital punishment in the United States. But we also want to give you some global perspective. This map shows the countries that carried out the most executions in 2010, and that's according to Amnesty International. Let's begin here in Iran, where, according to Amnesty, the 252 people, including 5 women and 1 juvenile offender, were executed. Then the second highest on the list, North Korea, where at least 60 people there were killed. Coming up in third is Yemen, where, according to Amnesty International, 53 convicts were officially put to death. But the country that uses the death penalty the most? China. Here, according to Amnesty, China executed more people than the rest of the world combined. China refuses to disclose just how many people were executed. Now, the United States is the only country in the Americas where the death sentence is legal. Here in the U.S., in 2010, 46 people were put to death. Now, just go on to that. Right now, more than 3,200 inmates in 36 states are awaiting execution. When it comes to clemency, though, it has been granted 286 times in the past 36 years. The majority of those cases were in the state of Illinois. And since 1973, 130 people have been released from death row after evidence emerged to overturn their convictions. Well, Troy Davis was not the only man put to death in the U.S. on Wednesday. Just hours earlier in the state of Texas, Lawrence Brewer was also executed by lethal injection for his role in a horrific murder 13 years ago. Iranian president is not the only world leader speaking at the General Assembly today. British Prime Minister David Cameron is also due to talk, as is Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who's recently become an increasingly vocal critic of Israel. We want to go to CNN's Elise Labott in New York. And Elise, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Ahmadinejad's speech. It usually does bring about quite a lot of reaction, as it tends to be long and quite critical of Israel and other world leaders. But in terms of course, this is coming after these 2 Americans were released by Iran. Ahmadinejad had said earlier it could have been on humanitarian reasons as well. But is he likely to get a different reception, if you will?
Well, I think certainly it puts him in a better light, Monita, as he comes to the UN General Assembly. And coincidentally, as President Obama was speaking...
Judgment on the burqa. A French court has fined a pair of Muslim women charged with covering their faces in public. They are the first to face punishment under France's controversial burqa ban, which came into force last April. Bring in Jim Bitterman, who joins us now from Paris. And Jim, you know, those French politicians who were for this ban were saying that this ban was put in place to try to equalize gender, to promote gender equality in France. But it seems as though this is likely to really send a really divisive note to the French public.
Well, it may be divisive, but I don't think it's too widespread in the sense that even in front of the courthouse this morning, there were far more.
These women have been reported to say that, you know, every time they walk out of the house, they feel as though they're almost entering a war zone because they don't feel protected by society. They feel they are being attacked by French society anywhere they go. They can't even go to the corner shop to get some of the necessary food that they need. And they can't even get jobs if they want to. That said, is there a sense that this could also help the far-right movement in France?
Well, I think there is some evidence of that it could help the far-right movement. That's certainly a topic of discussion here. The question about women not being able to go out, basically it's a very small number of people that have been involved.
All right, Jim,
here.
Thank you for that. Jim Bitterman there in Paris.
This is World One, live from London. Still ahead, gone but not forgotten.
Yeah, Typhoon Roke leaves death and devastation in Japan, a country already.
Back to you.
Yeah, Mari, thank you so much. Let's tell you about some of the stories that we're talking about. They've spent the past year rocking all over the world. Now, Guns N' Roses are ready to play for their U.S. fans. What's left of the band will play a 2.5-hour show featuring hits from Welcome to the Jungle to Sweet Child of Mine. The gigs get started next month. I'm sorry to say Zain / is not part of this.
What?
I know. Axl
What's the point?
I know, what's the point? Axl Rose and 2 other original members will warm up with dates in South America and Mexico. I don't think Paradise City's on the list. Walt Disney is adding a whole new world to its theme parks, the planet Pandora. You may have seen it already in the film Avatar. I think I'm the only one in the world who's not seen it yet. James Cameron, who directed the movie, said he looks forward to giving park goers the chance to hear, see, and touch the world of the Na'vi. Building is expected to start on the first park by 2013. And he's a rapper, a singer, a record producer, an actor. The list goes on. And now, get this. He's interested in photography. Yeah, Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy, plans to publish a book full of artistic pictures of women's bottoms. Yeah, his venture with an Italian photographer will be in shops in November. You might find the price a bit cheeky, haha. The bottom line, $65. We could go on and on and on. Guys, Zain, there's less than 100 days left. Christmas shopping days left, so you know,
Bottoms
put it
up,
on your
then.
list.
You're watching World One live from
Welcome
London.
back. Rugby's reigning world champions have been in action at the World Cup in New Zealand. Alex Thompson is here to tell us how they got on and bring us the rest of the world of sport.
Yes, Monita, South Africa, the first team at the Rugby World Cup to make it 3 wins out of 3 after racking up the largest margin of victory at the tournament so far.
Headlines about spiders or something.
Something or the
I was
other.
trying to think of something clever to do with web and stickiness.
I could ask you a very important question. Did you ever wonder what it takes to be a princess?
No.
No, okay.
Well, maybe.
Well, you might
Not
want
recently.
to know for your little girl. You're watching World On Live from London, still to come.
Learning her royal duties, the Duchess of Cambridge.
Well, Zain, how do you know how to act like a princess? Well, for some people, it seems to come naturally. But if you're the Duchess of Cambridge, you go for princess training. Representatives for the British royal family say Catherine will get royal training where she will get to know some of the institutions related to the national life better. Well, CNN's royal correspondent Max Foster joins us now with more details. What
Could
training
you take
are
some
we
lessons from you, perhaps?
You know what? I'd like
I
to
can hear your parents saying that right now.
They're probably saying you go to that boot camp as well. What's she going to do? What's she going to learn?
Well, the idea is that she can prepare for her public role. She hasn't chosen any charities yet, for
Fine
example.
balance, though, isn't it? To try to carve out a personality for herself and try to carve out an image for herself, but also be very well knowing that, you know, she's part of this establishment, which I think a lot of people have said that what Princess Diana had done when she was around was that, you know, she was so much the individual that it took the attention away from the establishment.
Yeah, and they can only really be defined, can't they, if they're charitable work, because that's all they do, because they're just born into it or married into it.
We'll be looking out for it. You're watching World One live from London here on Earth. I'm Zain Verjee.
I'm Monita Rajpal. The news continues at the top of the hour. You're watching CNN.